Take one step into a forest. Just one. Under the sole of your foot, in the soil you just pressed down on, there are kilometers of living threads. Not meters. Kilometers. In a single teaspoon of healthy forest soil, there can be up to 100 meters of fungal filaments, packed invisibly into the dark. And those threads are not just sitting there. They are carrying messages. They are moving food. They are connecting the trees around you into something that behaves less like a collection of individuals and more like a single, vast, living network. For most of human history, we saw a forest as a crowd of separate trees, each one standing alone, competing with its neighbors for light and water. We were wrong. Beneath the ground, they are holding hands. And the thing connecting them, the thing that built this hidden internet of the forest, is a fungus. This is the story of mycelium, and of a discovery that changed how we understand life itself. Because what lives under the forest floor may be one of the largest, oldest, and strangest forms of intelligence on the planet, an intelligence with no brain, no neurons, and no central control at all. Let's start with what mycelium actually is. When you picture a mushroom, you're picturing only a tiny part of the organism, the fruiting body, the part that pops up above ground to release spores. It's like an apple on a tree. The mushroom is just the fruit. The real organism, the actual body of the fungus, lives hidden beneath the surface, and it is made of mycelium, a sprawling web of microscopically thin threads called hyphae. These threads grow, branch, and spread through the soil in every direction, forming a mesh so fine and so dense that it can thread through the earth like a nervous system laid across the forest floor. And here is where the fungus makes its ancient bargain with the trees. The hyphae wrap around and even penetrate the roots of plants, forming a partnership so intimate it has its own name, mycorrhiza, which literally means fungus root. This partnership is one of the most successful deals in the history of life. The tree, up in the sunlight, makes sugar through photosynthesis, something the fungus cannot do. The fungus, down in the dark, has an enormous surface area of threads that can pull water and vital nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen out of the soil far more effectively than roots ever could. So they trade. The tree feeds the fungus sugar. The fungus feeds the tree minerals and water. This exchange is so powerful it can increase a tree's uptake of certain nutrients by up to half. And the fungus, in payment, keeps a large share of the sugar for itself, by some estimates around 30% of everything the tree produces. But this is where the story stops being about a simple trade and starts being about something much stranger. Because those fungal threads don't just connect one fungus to one tree. They connect tree to tree and species to species, weaving hundreds of separate plants into one shared network. The person who brought this to the world was a forest ecologist named Suzanne Samar. In 1997, working in the forests of British Columbia, she and her team demonstrated something remarkable. Using traceable forms of carbon, they showed that carbon could move from one tree through the underground fungal network into another tree of a completely different species. And the flow went both ways. When one tree was shaded and struggling to make its own food, its neighbors could send carbon to it through the fungal threads. The forest was not just a set of competitors. It was, at least in part, a system of sharing. A magazine gave the discovery a nickname that stuck, the Wood Wide Web. And the deeper researchers looked, the more astonishing it became. Samar's work revealed that forests have what she called hub trees, or mother trees, the oldest and largest individuals, with the most connections, sitting at the center of the network like major servers in the internet. These mother trees are linked to dozens, even hundreds, of younger trees around them. And in experiments, seedlings connected to a mother tree through the shared fungal network grew faster and survived better than those left unconnected. The old trees appeared to be subsidizing the young. It gets stranger still. Research suggested that mother trees could actually recognize their own kin, their genetic offspring, and preferentially send more resources to them through the network than to unrelated seedlings. And in one striking observation, when a Douglas fir was attacked and injured by insects, it appeared to send chemical warning signals through the network to a neighboring pine, which then began producing defensive enzymes, as if it had been told danger was coming. Let that sink in. A tree, warning another tree of a different species about an attack, using a fungus as the wire. Nutrients flowing to the sick and the young. Signals of distress and defense traveling underground from root to root. It looks, for all the world, like communication, like cooperation, like a kind of thinking. But I want to be honest with you, because this is exactly where science demands care. The Wood Wide Web has captured the public imagination so completely that the story sometimes runs ahead of the evidence. Some scientists have pushed back, cautioning that a few dramatic findings have been overgeneralized, that not every claim about talking, sharing, mothering forests is as settled as the popular version suggests. The underground networks are real. The fungal connections are real. The exchange of carbon and nutrients is real and measured. But the full picture, how much, how often, how deliberate, is still being actively debated and researched. And that debate is not a weakness in the story. It is the story. It is science doing exactly what it should, marveling at something extraordinary while refusing to overstate it. So how can a fungus do any of this with no brain? This is the part that rewrites our very idea of intelligence. The mycelium has no central controller. There is no headquarters, no command center, no neurons. And yet the network as a whole solves problems. It grows toward food and away from danger. It reroutes around obstacles. It allocates resources across enormous distances. Recent research has even detected electrical spikes traveling through mycelium, and one scientist analyzing those spikes found patterns with a statistical structure that, intriguingly, resembles aspects of language, hinting that the network might be encoding more information than we ever suspected. Whether or not that turns out to be true, the lesson is profound. Intelligence, in the sense of a system that senses, responds, and solves, does not require a brain. It can be woven out of millions of connected threads, distributed across an entire forest, with no single part in charge. And the scale of these organisms defies belief. Because a single mycelial network doesn't have to stay small. In the Blue Mountains of Oregon, there lives a fungus of the genus Armillaria, the honey fungus, whose underground body has been mapped spreading across an area of several square kilometers. It is estimated to be thousands of years old, possibly over 2,000. By area, it is considered one of the largest living organisms on the entire planet. Not the largest animal, not the largest plant. The largest living thing we know of is a fungus, and it is mostly invisible, a web of threads buried in the mountains, quietly connected, quietly alive, older than most human civilizations. Step back and consider what this means for how we see the world. We are used to thinking of ourselves and animals as the intelligent, connected, social beings, and of plants and fungi as passive scenery. But under every healthy forest lies a network that shares food with the hungry, supports its young, sends warnings of danger, and links hundreds of lives into one cooperating system, run by an organism with no brain and no heart, only threads. The forest above ground is the part we admire. The forest below ground may be the part that actually runs the show. So the next time you walk through the trees, remember what you are really standing on. Not just soil. A living circuit board, kilometers of it under every footstep, humming with traffic we are only beginning to decode. The trees you see are the leaves of something much larger, and the wires that connect them all were laid down, patiently, over hundreds of millions of years, by the quiet genius of fungi. In the next hidden history, we'll meet a mushroom that took this power to break things down and turned it into something almost miraculous. A fungus that can eat oil spills, digest pollution, and clean up the messes we thought were permanent. The story of the fungi that heal the earth. If this hidden world is opening your eyes, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.